Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu is a delicious grapefruit or wildberry vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at ZambuLiquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois, today's guest is the owner of Photography by Erin B. Ladies and gents of Central Illinois, please welcome Erin Barnard. How are you doing, Erin?
Is there fanfare? Is there cheering and stuff? Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
We've always said we need that, like that applause button, cheer button.
Yeah, we've been told that by like half the guests that come on. We still haven't done anything about it, so we need to figure it out. And
I guess our budget's just going to have to increase, right?
I wonder if I can figure it out through editing. If I can, you know what? This will be my first test episode, Erin. So if you listeners out there, if you start to hear applause after we introduce the guest, this was the official first guest that I was able to figure out how to edit clapping into the background. So we'll check it out.
And I volunteer to be like a background clapper, though. Like I'll just volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't pay very well, but you can have at it. That's for sure. Awesome, Erin. Well, we're excited to hear your story. Before we started recording, we heard a pretty good chunk of what you're excited to tell us about, and we're excited to learn more about it. So before that, though, Erin, I'm going to kick it to Garrett, and we're going to take you through our speed round questions.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of told you we've got 6 questions here coming at you. From the sound of it, you haven't studied up too hard for these, so it's going to be a tough test. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. First concert that you ever attended?
Oh, I don't even know. I think in my mom's belly, it was Aerosmith. I hear that story a lot. So
I like
nice. All right. Your favorite movie?
The Lost Boys, 1987. Second best thing to come out of 1987, by the way.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Every single kind that exists, but probably vanilla because it's classic.
There you go. iPhone or Android?
I have an Android. Don't come for me.
Yeah. No. All right. Favorite social media platform?
TikTok.
Last but not least, why Central Illinois?
Central Illinois, I grew up here and I found my little space out here at Lake Bloomington. The community has embraced me. I've made my place here. It's affordable. And there's just a lot of good things about this area.
Nice.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, good job, Erin. You made it through fairly easily for not preparing. So nice work.
Nice.
If you could, Erin, at this point, we'll pass you the mic. You can take over for as long as you'd like. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got to where you are now, where you started, anything in between you want to share.
Okay. So I'll start with, this is my least favorite thing on earth, but thank you so much for having me on.
Pleasure.
I hate being the face of my business. A, I don't like running a business. B, I don't want to be the face of it. But I'm very blessed that I've had the opportunity to photograph our community and outside of our community for 14 years. I do understand that in order to make this a business and a career, I have to drive it myself. So I've been trying to do that. I started at a portrait studio fresh out of college at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I was pursuing a career on Broadway and had auditioned for Wicked and Mamma Mia. And I was in a little movie with Vince Vaugh and stuff and just different things. And my life was going great, but I decided not to chase a paycheck and came here to continuously chase a paycheck. So that's the life of a creative. The first opportunity to do something creative in Central Illinois was to work for a portrait studio, photographing families. So I got to know a lot of people over 5 years. I had 5,000 sessions under my belt in 5 years. So just crash course and everything you need to know photography wise. Moved on to my own independent contractor type stuff and photographed babies in the hospital, mostly at St. Joe's. I was actually in Peoria for the most part. So I got to photograph a lot of babies in the hospital for a couple of years. Then I went on an endeavor to do boudoir for women. Excuse me. And then I decided that it'd be nice to actually make some money in my career and jumped into the wedding game. So I've been doing that for the last 4 years. I think it's the coolest thing ever to be able to go be my most creative self and a skill that I've been developing for 14 years and be there on what I hope is the most exciting day of somebody's life. Have a good meal with them, dance, cheer them on, and celebrate love, even though I'm single. So I don't know who I'm waving to. Maybe Travis Kelce. I don't know. Maybe he'll see this.
Yep. Listen to the end and you'll catch Erin's digits, maybe. So.
Oh.
Well, cool. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Erin.
I mean, that's everything.
Nice.
Excellent. So you have a creative background. You've always been interested in maybe entertaining or being creative, whether it's acting or through art or photography. So you kind of mentioned how you got into photography, but what was it specifically about photography that kept you in that game and pushed you to starting your own business in photography?
You know what? That is such a good question. And I recently won the Women of Distinction Award for the YWCA. I did that right before I moved out to California. I went out to California for the winter just to change the scenery a little bit.
Cool.
And the person who nominated me is Pastor Jan Praver, and her husband was Dave Praver, who just retired from being lead photographer of the Pantograph. Very special young man, Luke Boyd, passed away when I was between my 8th grade and freshman year. And he was a very special kid in the community in Lexington and also where I had gone to school in Chittix. And they did a project called the Lucas Project, I believe is what it was called. It was my first photography opportunity to work with Dave and do some artist photography. We put on a gallery and the proceeds went to fund the Lucas Project. So I've always kind of seen photography intermingling with the community in a way that puts a spotlight on important things or documents people. I think it's the most important thing to show somebody that they deserve to be documented and to do it. So I tried to do that for several years. I have had very, very heavy moments with photography, looking back, healing people through photographs, letting them see that they're beautiful, letting them take back their bodies through this. People who have, I don't want to go dark with it, but I mean, I photographed babies in the hospital and not always ones that got to go home. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of things that I've carried throughout my life, and taking people's last photos or photos that end up very, very special to people. And not having kids of my own, not having a spouse or siblings or anything like that, I feel so connected to people and part of their life because I've captured like some of the most special moments for them. So something about my purpose in life keeps me trying to make a living doing this, and pushing that forward and trying to find a way to do that also serves my soul. It's not just all weddings every weekend, but maybe it's another way to help document people, and I've got some ideas on what I want to be doing to push that forward as well. So.
Excellent.
And was that something that you had a passion for at a very young age?
No, I got an opportunity. My senior project, I went to Lexington. There were 12 boys and 13 girls in my class, graduating class. So
wow,
very small opportunity. And I would like to say I'm a very big community kind of person. So I went into that community and they just didn't have art classes that were advanced enough for the things that I wanted to do. And it was very clear that I was going to pursue art and theater from a very young age. So senior year, they made a class called Art for Independent. And I was the only person in the class. And she was just, Mrs. Roseman, shout out. She was like, just do whatever you want. She's like, anything you want. I trust you. You're just going to go do this. So the school shared a digital camera called a Kodak Easy Share, and it's just the most basic of cameras that you could possibly have. Mm-hmm. And I did a girl's senior pictures that year. We just walked around and went to the park, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm happy to capture you, because she wouldn't have otherwise gotten that. And so I feel like, yeah, I've kind of started there. I got a little passion for a little taste. I never wanted to do it. I was studying, trying to be on stage, and now I want to be the furthest from on stage as possible. I'm so much more comfortable behind my camera than in front of it. So yeah, lots of things through the years. Looking back, just my life would not be the same without it. So I don't know. I really wish it wasn't business. I would be doing this obviously for free if I could make a living doing something else too. So
excellent. Well, that kind of leads me to the next question. You mentioned again before we started recording initially that obviously weddings are a big part of your business, but your true passion is in a different area of photography. And you just recently started a new project. Could you tell us a little bit about that project and what exactly it is, what you do with that project? Because I know there's some listeners who will probably connect with it.
I would love to, and thank you for the opportunity. The gal who actually got me on this podcast or made the connection is Ashley Sang, and she sits down with people and just really talks about where they want to go in business, what their dreams are, what their values are, and helping them build the connection with their community on their website with, you know, little sentences, bullet words, whatever, so people can get a taste of who they're investing in, I guess. And I told her about something I've had a dream for a long time a year ago. And I said, you know, there was a time when I was starting this business and everything was coming out of pocket and I didn't have financial resources from family. I was bootstrapping everything by myself. I was working every job under the book. It's a running joke. Any job I start, they're like, where haven't you worked? I'm like, where haven't I worked? Because I'm happy to fill in pretty much anywhere. So I just know how important networking was there. And I would just go park on Main Street and I would go, you know, door to door to, there used to be a bridal and tuck shop, and I go to the salons, and then I go, you know, to the tattoo shops and be like, here's how we could collaborate. I could do photos of this and that. And, you know, and I just was really embraced by the community, but I never really got a chance to have those one-on-one coffee dates or take people out to lunch because I was so nervous that I couldn't afford the coffee for me or for them. So that kind of planted a seed a long time ago about scholarship opportunities for people starting business, because there's more than just costs for business cards and websites and et cetera. I mean, there's a laundry list of things in business, but the important stuff is human connection. Taking that person out to coffee that could level you up or open a door for you is so important. So I started, just kind of started it out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's called ICAN, Independence, Community, Ambition, and Networking. It is a little thing where whenever somebody purchases a brand session with me, so they're investing in themselves, they're saying, hey, I want to connect with my audience. I want to take some pictures in and around my office or in my community. I take $50 out of the profit from each one of those sessions. And then I take it somewhere in the community I think would help a person getting started in networking. So I just recently went to Bob's Bay Books, Fusion Brew. I went to Coffee House, Coffee Hound. I went to Freedom because another friend who's a photographer, her family owns the local Freedoms. I wanted to make sure that that money was also being reinvested in the small businesses in our community without asking them for anything. And then I would take all of those things, and once I felt like it was enough money to make a difference, I would award it to somebody I would call an icon. So I thought that was kind of cute. And I recently did just give it to the gal that owns EtchaSteph Designs, and she runs social media for people. So she got a whole load of gift cards for the community as an encouragement to go out and just network for herself. She's a wonderful girl. We have worked together twice now, and not assuming people need money in any way, by the way. This is just a little gift to say, hey, don't forget about doing this. This is really going to be helpful in your business. So I would love to push that forward, because I think I really shine and individually when I get to know about that person, and then really can bring them out, their personality out in the pictures. Portraits are much more my thing than a busy, hectic wedding day where you have to capture every single thing. There's a lot of that when you look through as an artist later on, where you're like, oh my gosh, some of these pictures are just like, you know, the pictures of the food, or I don't know, like Carl dancing in the corner. Not so much my thing as much as that posed beautiful artistry. So if I could get back towards something that funds me, which would be people ordering branding sessions, fund the community, and then pay it forward to somebody else that's going to be doing good things in the community, man, that would just, it gets my soul going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
I could tell. Okay. So I have a question about, so you mentioned who you selected. Is there a criteria that you have for the person that you select for this program, or is it just kind of gut feeling? Do they have to apply anyway? How do you select the person that you end up working with?
Not yet. And I only had 2 brand sessions before paying this forward. I don't have any more brand sessions set up at the moment.
Okay.
So I didn't want to sit on the money. And then also one of my brand gals, Haley Seal, she went ahead and gave an extra $35 to Grove Street Bakery, which is one of her favorite places to network. So she kind of donated something towards it. So we had $135 to put towards it. And I thought that was a good place to start. I don't have a criteria at this point. And honestly, I think there's only 6 followers on the Facebook. I've been trying to push it through my Photography by Erin B page as well. In the future.
Okay.
I'm excited because I've been working with a lot of university students as well. I might have like a university program, something like that, and that like help students. But these are all dreams. This is not what's actually happening. It actually just happened. I made a little thing come true. Last Friday is when I delivered it to her. She was in complete shock. She cried. And you just never know when that little encouragement saying, I see you. I think that this is important. What you're doing is cool. And also like go show some other people about it because they'll be excited too. So
absolutely.
Very cool.
For business owners that are looking, to do a branding session or something like this, do you have a radius that you cover for yourself? Or just stay in the Bloomington area? What kind of circumference do you work with?
I am a free bird, so I could go anywhere I want. I would love to, obviously be able to travel and afford a lifestyle with maybe some payment on the other end of things. So if I traveled out to California and I have 5 or 6 branding sessions, that would cover the trip and the reason for being away. I focus on Bloomington Normal because it's easier right now. I'm very busy on the weekends, so that Monday through Friday is easy to grab an evening and go support the community. So this is very much a community program right now, but you're talking big dream stuff with me. You're talking like, Erin, you're 35. What do you want to do with your life? I want to go everywhere. Like, I want to do all the things. Like, I want to live in Rhode Island for a little bit. I just lived in California. I have big dreams, and if I could obviously set up several places across the US where this fits, that would be cool. But I'm very much embraced by this community, and I very much make my career here in Central Illinois.
Great. Awesome. So what exactly, if a business does want a brand session, what exactly is included in that branding session?
So basically they could buy it by the hour, and it just depends on how much time and how many locations, how many outfits. It starts with a session fee, and then what we do is we kind of go over what they're trying to communicate with their audience. If they work with a business that has colors in their branding, then we talk about what to wear and what not to wear. Like, I chose this obviously today because I'm casual, but I'm also professional, and I'm classic. So I'm not going to be wearing, wild patterns and things like that for me, because and then my stuff is more coppers, browns, that kind of goes with my branding, clean aesthetic. So you can see my awards in the background. This is tailored. This is in my foyer. This is not where I sit and chill. So basically that's what we're trying to do with a branding session, is we're trying to figure out, who are you? What makes you cool? Are you a lawyer who's stern and you're going to get things done? Are you an author who's intellectual? Are you like a wild and crazy chick with your wild and crazy hair and, you're just that fun chick? Like, and that's what you're trying to emote. I have to figure that out with you, help guide you to outfits that you can wear and locations. So I like to choose, if it's Bloomington Normal, you serve your community, maybe we go downtown Bloomington. Maybe we buy the marquee at the Normal Theater and put your business name up there, something like that. Maybe.
Cool.
It's just basically trying to figure out where they're trying to go with it. And then they can choose to purchase a marketing release with individual photos if they just want a couple pictures, or they could buy the entire gallery. And that stays up for 2 weeks for them to take a look at all the edited pictures, kind of see what they like and make choices from there.
So now I'm going to put you on the spot here. You're talking about kind of getting set up here, what a wardrobe looks like. So let's, for instance, say you had to look at Derek's shirt. Now take a good look at it, because that's pretty unique. What would you recommend for all of you listeners out there? If you have a visual here, let me just set the tone. We're 1986. We've got Derek attending a WWF wrestling event with wild glasses on and looks like a shirt that Macho Man would wear. So that's kind of the setting. Yeah. Erin, how do you work with something like that?
Well, he's actually giving very much Zach from Saved by the Bell. It's very much
Saved by the Bell. I'll go with that too. Yeah, okay.
And that's fun. I think he's giving off fun and casual right now, and being shaved and everything. He's like Midwest and clean cut, but also doesn't want to come across too business professional and alienate that kind of an audience. So, and you're also pegging the generation that you're from too by the choice. So it's like, yeah, are we going to an 80s, 90s party tonight? Or are you just trying to say like, hey, that's like where I'm from, 80s, 90s, But yeah, it's a good choice. It would be fun. It actually really stands out in the space that he's in as well for the podcast. So for someone who makes their money off of their voice and not necessarily their appearance, I do think something that stands out like that, if that's part of their personality, would be really great to help connect with an audience.
Good. Wow. That was really good.
She was way too nice.
I'm sorry. It just popped back to him because I was looking at Garrett for a while. So you also have your certifications in the background too. So you're setting that tone as well, saying, and then you've got your little Zambo, right? Your little product placements and beer nuts and stuff. So we're selling, Garrett's selling, and Garrett's like, there is some merit behind this. I promise you guys. And there's a cow. I love cows. There's a cow, top tier.
There we go. So good timing for the cow. Now, by the time this episode goes live, it'll probably be a month from now, Erin, or more, maybe 5-6 weeks, because we got some lined up. So we're recording on May 8th. So the episode that dropped on it's today, May 8th.
It was today. Yeah, it came out today.
We actually did a throwback because we release one every Monday and every Friday. Every Monday is what we call Biz Tips, where we give tips for business owners to help improve their business. It's a shorter 5 to 10 minute interview. Then the Friday ones are interview with business owners, where they're talking about their business, talking about what's worked for them, what not worked for them, that type of stuff. Anyway, this morning we re-released a throwback from one of our first ever Biz Tips episodes, where we talked about how to become a purple cow. So I'm trying to think this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the purple cow. How to stand out in your marketplace, how to be different, how to do things differently than your competition. So it's one of our favorite topics. But anyway, that was a good opportunity to shout out the cow in the background there, and why I have a purple cow hanging on the wall. So that explains.
I thought you were just trying to scream like, I'm from the Midwest. There's a cow to prove it.
Yeah, I need to get a picture of a corn stalk or something somewhere over here. Everybody would
just hold it together. Corn. Just hold it like a microphone.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. So, Erin, you mentioned that you were in a movie as you were studying acting and film and cinema. I think is what you mentioned, and Broadway is kind of what you aspired to do earlier on. What movie were you in with Vince Vaugh?
Fred Claus.
Fred Claus.
I promise. Awesome. From it, I froze my living ass off shooting for this film. It was like negative 12 degrees, and no joke, in the city. We were being directed by the same director that directed Wedding Crashers. So he was, I guess there was a lot of rules, and you couldn't go in any of the places and warm up. So I remember a lot of hot hands, a lot of like things in our hands and feet, these little hand warmers, and me like not being able to feel my toes for 3 days straight. I signed a little thing to be a featured extra when I walked past Vince Vaugh in the scene where he's shaking the the bell for the Salvation Army trying to get money for himself and like scam. He said some stuff to me, so I'm like walking past and he's supposed to be like, blah, 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 you know, say like something a little cheeky, and it got cut from the film. I cannot find myself.
Oh, no.
But it was
Oh man.
The real story behind this is that there's so many stories, like trying to get home and trusting this guy who was like out of The Sopranos, and he sold cigars for a living, and he was like, yeah, you little 19-year-old, get in my Cadillac and I'll take you back to the city. And I'm like, okay, but hey, I'm alive. So
that's good. Glad you're here.
And then also I was supposed to be in the movie Dark Knight with Heath Ledger.
Really?
And all my friends who did that in the city met Heath Ledger, but I was like too tired to get up for a 3 a.m. call. So it's just a lot of chasing a paycheck. You can really make a living doing that stuff. And it's a lot of fun. You know, I got a cappuccino next to Vince Vaugh. I was invited out afterwards by one of his friends, and I didn't go. It's just fun experience.
That's very cool, though.
Living life, right?
Cool story. Yeah, that I don't have anything nearly that cool, I don't think. So, now you also mentioned you were on a fairly high-profile podcast in the fairly recently.
I wasn't on it. No, Lord,
you weren't. I thought you said you were on it. Okay.
No, I purchased a ticket to go. No.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I purchased because they decided to go live, and I put it on my vision board that I was going to meet Travis Kelce.
Okay.
From City Chiefs. He's just on the top of his game right now, absolutely. And I was going to go out and be in that energy. I reached out to management to get a photo pass, but I think I did it a little too late, and they have a little team of photographers. So went out and had a blast during the NFL draft. I was in there in the orchestra level. Just super, super enjoyed it, but I haven't met them yet. And I just wish them all the best. Like everybody that was there for the draft, everybody's dreams coming true. It was big energy. So
cool. That's pretty awesome. I have an 8-year-old son, and he's a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. So he's a big Travis Kelce fan. So that would be right up his alley. That's awesome.
That is cool. You mentioned something there, Erin. You said it was on your vision board. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, tell us a little bit about your secret, because I know a lot of people who use vision boards, and they are pretty successful people. So tell us a little bit about how you handle or how you use a vision board.
Okay, so I was in a mood, and I decided with my friend and I kind of reached out to them, and I was like, listen, I kind of want you to do the same thing. We're people who encourage each other all the time. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start Googling stuff that I want to do, places I want to go, rooms I want to be in, people I want to meet, energies that I want in my life. And I said, I'm going to put all those together and maybe like collage them on Instagram or just throw them up as a Facebook post, which is what I ended up doing. And I took a picture of Travis Kelce and Miss Kayla Nicole, who's nothing against Kayla Nicole. She's fantastic, but I put my face on top of her body in the picture. And I was like, that's the only one that I kind of did a little something with. But I was like, you know what, that energy, that kind of man, that person who's reached the top and is just taking that opportunity to give back to the community and keep that momentum rolling is exactly what I want in my life. So I put that vision board together that day. And that evening, New Heights came on and said that they were going to go live in Kansas City. And I was able to get a ticket. So that happened immediately. And a couple other things that I put on my vision board did happen that night and into that next day. I haven't looked back at it yet, but seeing it lets you notice the opportunities around you to go be in that energy. So I put a lot of flowers on there. And if I turn the camera, I have a lot of fresh flowers in my house. I make sure to stop and get myself flowers all the time because I love having fresh flowers around. It's just part of who I want to be. And I don't know Travis Kelce from Adam. I just heard about them for the first time before the Super Bowl. I'm in love with Mama Kelce. She walked past me at the podcast, and I was just like, I love you. You're so cute.
Cool.
That's what I put on my vision board as well, is I'd love to be part of a family, and some, a family like that that's just out there just living their best lives is good energy. So I don't know, maybe it works for people, maybe it doesn't, but it worked for me. It's the second time I've ever done one, so I can't say that it's like a whole thing, but
that's awesome.
No, I think it's great. I'm finishing up the book that Derek recommended to me, The Secret.
And in The Secret, there's, sometimes the book can seem a little crazy, but it's the power of positivity, the power of your mind, visualizing certain things, and getting you through stuff. And so that's great. And I've used a visual board most of my life. I've spent about 20 years in sales. And if you want something, it never fails. If you put it up there to where you can see it every day, it's crazy how things work out. So when you start to stray away from that, when you get back to it, it really works. So good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another mentality to piggyback that I've really adopted in the past couple of weeks, because life is not easy, guys. It's not all roses and flowers and everything so wonderful and stuff. Like stuff sucks sometimes, right?
Yeah.
A mentality that I developed is if I put something out there and say that's my ideal, that's what I want to get, instead of saying that's the be all end all, if not that, better. So you have to leave room for your gifts in life too, the things that you have to receive, the people you might not have met yet. You can't look at somebody and be like, that's my ideal, if you haven't met everybody that you're going to have the opportunity to meet yet. You can't settle at that job if you haven't done everything, etc. So
Awesome. Well, that's great.
Deep. Nice.
So I want to go back to the very beginning when you mentioned that your favorite social media platform is TikTok. So do you use TikTok for business, or are you strictly a TikTok consumer, or do you have a mix of both?
I'm a consumer. I feel like I go a lot of places. Excuse me. I feel like I go a lot of places and have a lot of photographs from moments that are just incredible for me. Waking up in Venice Beach, going out for breakfast and grabbing a coffee and walking around, watching the sunrise. The shop owners are opening their shops. I have the coolest pictures from Venice, and I post it to my 50 Facebook friends because I'm very introverted in my life. I'm very selective with who I let in my energy and my circle and stuff, like private life. And so I might get 2 likes on my I'm having breakfast in Venice post. So I did make a couple of TikToks just for those pictures to get them out there because I'm so proud of them. But I do not put my work up there. I am terrified of scrutiny. I'm terrified of comparison. I'm terrified of any kind of backlash that would come, any kind of negative energy. So I'm not going to put my work out there. As long as my client likes it, I'm good.
Sure.
And I have mentioned it since the beginning. I do not like to be the face of anything. I'm not out there trying to become a celebrity. I don't want to be like the photographer to go to, and well, I don't know. I'm happy to help anybody out, but I'm a lot better on the one-on-one than to get up on the stage and be like, and now let me teach you how to be successful. Because no, I'm not that girl. I'm not doing it. I don't want to be on stage. I don't need it at this point. Terrifies me. I don't like the stage. I don't like the spotlight.
Sure.
Well, you're doing a really good job in your podcast. I can tell you that. So no reason to be worried there. So we're actually getting close to the 30-minute mark, Erin. So before we jump off, is there anything that you'd like for the business owners, business leaders listening, any messages that you would want to share with them, or any last ideas that you want to put out there?
I guess the only thing that came to mind is business is very hard. It's not always up. It's not always even in the middle. Sometimes it's down. Sometimes it takes a long time to get back up. I think you really need to not only network with people that can help you get back up, but will understand when you're down. And we don't hide when we're in a failure mode. We don't hide when we're down. You need to have somebody to talk through that. I get down on myself all the time and think, my gosh, I see all these photographers, and gosh, if I could just put another $5,000 to $10,000 into equipment, I would like this picture in this circumstance so much better because I'd have lighting and I'd have this lens that I want. And there's always something. And I mean, I've gotten to the point sometimes where I've been like, you know what? I don't want to do photography anymore. I look at something, I'm like, oh my gosh, this could have been so much better. We always get that way. And then we negate the, 14 years of mastering this thing that got us here. So podcasts like this are really nice to reflect on why I'm still doing this. I've gotten a chance to kind of revisit myself and my past, and I'm feeling quite uplifted. But the takeaway would be definitely to have somebody that can talk you through stuff when you're down, because you can't always be up, and your business, your job, it's a big chunk of your life. And your happiness. So we got to make sure that you have somebody for the ups, the downs, and the middles for sure.
Great.
Excellent.
Advice.
That's great. So Erin, if someone wants to learn more about your business, about you personally, where can they reach out to find you at?
So I'm on a lot of different platforms. My website is photographybyerinb.com. That's going to be where you would reach out to me and see a lot of work that's more directed towards couples, weddings, and engagements. Events and boudoir are also listed on there. But knowing that I do portraits, that is definitely something that I pitch and put out there on my Instagram, Photography by Erin B, and my Facebook, Photography by Erin B on Facebook as well. I could be reached via message on any of those platforms, or photographybyerinb@gmail.com is another opportunity to reach out if you have any interest in that. I do not do family portraits, children's portraits, babies. There's a lot of things I don't do anymore. I would say I'm really great at portraits, and weddings and events are my game right now, but I can get you some suggestions of who to go to if you're looking for great family photographers and stuff like that as well.
Looks
Awesome.
like it's pretty easy. I pulled up your website, and right there, free consultation. They click the button, shoot you an email. Super easy.
Perfect. Well, for all you loyal listeners out there, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, please leave us a review. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can also find us on social media, mainly on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can connect with Garrett and I personally there as well. Until next time, Erin, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Erin. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL Podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.